Hi, I'm Rosemary Jean Thompson, and welcome to UBC's Next Big Thing. My guest today is Nancy Holmes. She's the Associate Dean of Research and Graduate Studies in the Faculty of Creative and Critical Studies. Welcome.
Thank you.
You are going to talk a little bit about green art. And I know I've had the pleasure of working with you and one of your co-researchers on some eco-art projects. So tell us a little bit about eco-art and how you're involved in that.
It's a really diverse and growing field in the art world and the environmental world. It's sort of where environmental concern and artistic practice intersect. And artists who care about the natural world and our place in it are tending, I think, more and more to use their art practice to explore that connection that they have with the natural world.
You're a poet, I think one of your main areas.
It absolutely is, yeah.
And so how does poetry fit into the ecosystem, and what would that look like?
Great question. Poets have used the natural world as inspiration since time immemorial. Always poets have used metaphors and symbols from the natural world. My love is like a red, red rose. It's just one of the most, essential materials for most poets, that the natural world as a resource in some ways. But I think what we're seeing in contemporary poetics is that poets are thinking a lot about that resource in the same way that we've become more aware of that resource when it comes to energy or our food, etc. You start thinking about your relationship with the natural world more, right? When you care about pollution or you care about farming and food. Well, so too poets are beginning to think about their relationship with the natural world. Is it just a simple primeval forest of symbols where we can just go in and grab them, use them as we want, or do we have another more ethical relationship with the natural world? And I guess eco-poets have decided that they do have a more ethical relationship with the natural world, and that what they need to explore that relationship.
What has that looked like for you? How have you blended the two?
Since the 1980s, when I started writing poetry, I've been really interested in wonderful Canadian poets like Don Mackay, who've been writing since the early 1980s in a really fresh and new way about the natural world. And then about 10 years ago, I was working in Penticton, and the person whose office was next to me at the old Okanagan University College campus was a biologist, Howie Richardson. Many people in the Valley probably know Howie. He's a great climber of the Skaha Bluffs and a great outdoorsman, but he's also a biologist. And he said to me at one point, there are 39 endangered species in the Okanagan, Nancy. Do you not know that? And I said, no, I don't. I've been here for 10 years and I don't know that about my place where I am. So it shocked me that I was someone who had lived here 10 years and knew virtually nothing.
Well, I don't want to mention that I've been here 20 years and I didn't know that either, so
there you go.
You're one ahead of some of us.
Yeah, well, I think that's the story of many Okanagan people. We come here and we don't really know very much about the fragility of the place, about its natural history, and of course we don't know very much about its Indigenous history either. So I really, over the past 10 years, I've been trying to educate myself about this place. I process knowledge, I guess, through poetry. And so what I've been doing is, about what I've been learning, is trying to understand this place through my poetry. And so I've been writing a lot of poetry about the animals and the birds and the plants of the Okanagan, as well as the people and some of the history.
You have been involved in some research. I've seen some of your work, some films that you've put together. If somebody was interested in seeing what poetry and film or eco-art may look like, where might they find some of your work?
Well, the past couple of years I've become really interested in bigger community-based art projects, and so that's my current research in a sense. I mean, I still write poetry, but I'm really interested in thinking about ways to get people to learn about the Okanagan in ways that are entertaining and that make emotional connections to the place. So with groups of artists, I have been working on bigger community-based projects. So the Woodhaven Eco Art Project back in 2010 was a real success. We had hundreds of artists and community members coming through Woodhaven Nature Conservancy to look at artwork that was engaged with that particular place. Right now, I've got a SSHRC-funded research project called the Eco Art Incubator. With my colleague Denise Kenny, I am working on some community-based eco art projects throughout the Okanagan Valley. So we're doing small projects with students in places like in Coldstream, Bishop Bird Sanctuary. We're doing a great project in the north end of Kelowna where we're creating a package of art to welcome newcomers who move into the neighborhood. And this hopefully helps people get attached to a particular place.
Wow.
So lots of different projects, and we have a website, theecoartincubator.com, and people can go and see the amazing range of projects that we're doing under that umbrella.
It's nice to know that art can blend itself with the environmental needs of a community, and that there's a way to express that and yet pass on a new thought and a new way of seeing our environment. So thank you for doing that, Nancy.
Well, thank you.
And thanks for coming today. That wraps it up for this edition of UBC's Next Big Thing. Until next time, I'm Rosemary Jean Thompson. Have a great day.